When I say what happened to masculinity, I don't mean Leon himself. I mean the way journalists have started writing about characters like him. Game journalists has officially lost the plot. We're talking blatant double standards. Outlets churning out essay-style pieces with provocative, rage-bait headlines that pull you in, only for the actual article to be about how great Highguard is, or casually labeling Wu-Chan Gunnar Souls. And yet, these same outlets will publish pieces where the entire focus shifts away from actual game or character analysis and into subjective, sexualized fanfiction. Explicit sexualization of game characters, fetishization, sadism, the kind of content you'd expect buried deep in some subreddit. But since they have the platform, they do it out in the open. Kotaku, Games Radar, GameSpot. Take your pick. Hi everyone, this is Alex. So you may have seen this article on Kotaku, and in the article there was this paragraph. After playing through Requiem twice, I can confidently say that those women at Capcom succeeded are God's strongest soldiers and allies to the gay community. Requiem manages to effortlessly capture Leon's sensual aura and swagger in every motion. His reload animations, sexy. His violent kills that should make me recoil in disgust, I'm swooning. You know what makes me genuinely sad? All the editors left these gaming outlets. Gone. And listen, these places still have a platform, a megaphone if you will. They have the reach to write something genuinely compelling. And instead, these guys are writing about their own sexual preferences. Love letters to their male gaming crushes. That's not game journalism, that's literally gooning and fanfiction. And somehow, when it's directed at a male character, that's totally fine. Somehow, the major gaming outlets, struggling as they are, still have enough traffic to publish this stuff and get eyes on it. I don't care who you are and your beliefs. You represent a gaming publication, and the best you can do when writing about this character is describe your own wet dreams. Stuff like that should stay in the drafts. Keep it in the closet. But here's what I actually want to say. Leon in Resident Evil 9 is a man of few words. His jokes are deliberately blunt, maybe even a little dumb on purpose. And if that's what's inspired these writers to go fully horny mode with their topics, that's just sad. And if they genuinely never considered any other angle, that's doubly sad. Honestly, in my personal opinion, Capcom killed two birds with one stone. They made Leon visually appealing to attract the broadest possible audience, and in terms of personality, they gave us a classic 80s-90s action hero. Leon genuinely embodies that buzzword masculinity, but he does it with style. The issue is that describing attractive game characters has crossed a line, from appreciation into the territory of personal sexual preferences, agenda pushing, and double standards. None of that helps a reader get interested in the game or the character. You'd close the game pretty fast if the only gameplay loop was jiggle physics. But that article, that's just child's play compared to what was published on GameSpot. One of the Resident Evil's fundamental joys is watching beautiful men get hurt. The people love Leon Kennedy for more than his action game pedigree. Written by Grace Banfield, and here's how it opens. Leon Kennedy is tied up. The henchmen of cult leader Osmond Sadler have injected him with Las Plagas, an ancient zombified parasite. His hands are cuffed to a chain, at the other end of which is Kennedy's sometimes ally Louis Serra. They work together to get free. There is a rhythm between them as they pull on the chain. Their muscles are taut. They trade grunts like drum beats. For now, their bodies are triumphant. The author then argues that the series constantly puts its heroes in danger, and that this danger is body-centric, which apparently gives it an erotic dimension. And the intro wraps up with, one of the series' sincere pleasures is watching beautiful people, but especially beautiful men, get hurt. One of the series' sincere pleasures, at least in the remakes, is the level design, the puzzles, the challenge of tracking down a key item that's locked behind a clever enemy encounter, the gunplay and the weight of the weapons, the way the series lets you upgrade and evolve your arsenal, the brutality of the heroes cutting through hordes of zombies and grinding down each boss. Ultimately, it's good versus evil dressed up as pure entertainment through gameplay. But your take about suffering and pain, that smells a lot like a love of sadism. In part, this is a consequence of Resident Evil's mechanical ideas. The body is something that can change, even if a few green herbs can patch it up. As the series morphed into almost pure action, it never lost this fixation. And again, the author has a hyperfixation on the word body and its supposed deep existential meaning within the game. But it's just a mechanic. It adds challenge. The article takes a completely neutral game system and twists it into something perverse, dressed up as highbrow philosophical analysis. Furthermore, the zombie itself represents a transformed body. A bite or a cut turns you from a normal person to a mindless cannibal. The moment of change is so small that one can hide it. Yet, once the transformation is complete, it is so total that the person becomes unrecognizable. The genre has an obvious racial dimension. The last sentence, it's like the author is trying to dig deep and land some profound conclusion, but they just toss out a bone for speculation and attempt to draw a parallel to Night of the Living Dead. The still electrifying zombie classic Night of the Living Dead underlines this truth in its haunting ending, where a black man is mistaken for one of the living dead and killed on sight. Therefore, the threat which Resident Evil's heroes face is that difference between human and monster. You're trying to merge two completely different cultures and two completely different entertainment genres made in entirely different periods of history, and the connection is never argued, never developed. It's just dropped there. In Resident Evil 4, the camera swings with Leon's hip and zooms forward with his gun. It was also one of the first games of its kind to have extensive death cutscenes. Finding different ways to die and watching Leon be torn apart or hanged or sliced in twain with the chainsaw is almost a minigame of its own. Games like Tomb Raider and Dead Space would exaggerate this impulse, making their deaths into miniature, fake snuff films and hyper-gory dreamy sci-fi horror. First of all, here's actual Resident Evil footage. Where exactly is the camera swinging with Leon's hip? Maybe check Nexus mods. There might be a mod there that gives you the camera angle you're looking for. Finding different ways to die is almost a minigame of its own? Okay, we get it, you're into blood and gore, but framing that as philosophical insight? Questionable at best. And comparing Resident Evil 4th death animations to games from 2012 and 2008 respectively, those are old games. Also, they never specified whether they are talking about the Dead Space remake or the original. Small detail, but still. Yet, neither of those quite have the horny eye that Resident Evil 4 constantly indulges. Leon is the subject of sexual interest almost everywhere he goes. Both men and women desire him. Yeah, especially that cop in the Resident Evil 2 remake who got beaten, or Grace Ashcroft. The moment where the author describes the duel between Leon and Krauser as homoerotic, that's just complete absurdity. Fan fiction. I don't know what he was imagining, but that boss fight is clearly not about that. The author even fabricated the idea that Victor Gideon expresses his villainy through perversity, and the piece closes with horror is made of these kinds of mixes. Gore can be horrifying or gratifying, often both at once. Alright, here's my actual take on survival horror and Resident Evil. There's nothing extraordinary here that needs to be decoded. There's a story, iconic characters, gameplay that works within its own framework. You don't need to turn this into an art exhibition. Resident Evil is a game, a great game, but it stays grounded. Its goal is simple: give you a challenge through a health bar, and if it hits 0, you restart the level. But now you know it better. Dismembering zombies is a gameplay element. It's fun. Same energy as Doom 2016 at E3, when they showed the Doom guy ripping demons apart and the crowd just lost it, because it was awesome. We all get it. You like Leon. But here's the problem. This article was published for the 30th anniversary of the series, and instead of writing about its history, how the gameplay evolved, the characters, the legacy, the author wrote fanfiction about their wet dreams. Sure, somewhere on a subreddit or in a Discord server, let it exist, but the horror theme is completely underdeveloped. Yes, horror works through the vulnerability of the human body, but the text never actually explores that idea. It reduces everything to the erotic experience of watching a beautiful character suffer. The author never breaks down how Leon takes damage in the different games, or what mechanics drive that in Resident Evil 9 specifically. The article constantly jumps around, leaving nothing but the illusion of depth. What happens is a substitution. Instead of analyzing the character and his role in the game, we get him reduced to a beautiful body in a situation of violence. Be whoever you want and do whatever you like, but posting this under the banner of major gaming outlets, writing about a franchise that has survived and thrived for 30 years in this way is just bad form. As a cultural essay, it's not serious. And as content on gaming side, it's not analysis, it's interpretation dressed up as journalism. And honestly, it's the degradation of gaming media. Thanks for watching to the end, subscribe and hit like if you enjoyed this. If you didn't, thanks anyway. And let me know in the comments what will happen with Marcus Phoenix after E-Day, a proper analysis or fan fiction again. See ya.